Well, I'm joined in studio by our chief reporter, Barry White, because yesterday the Israeli ambassador to Ireland invited some members of the media to the embassy to view footage from the October 7th Hamas terrorist attacks that killed 1,100 civilians and 300 members of the Israeli Defense Forces. And they say the reason for showing the footage to the media was to bear witness and make sure the world knows about the extent of that 7th of October Hamas attack. Barry, you were there.
Yeah, I was there, and I'm sure a lot of the journalists there last night, Pat, probably found it hard to sleep last night after watching the footage. It is distressing, it's disgusting. So the footage that the media was showing was a 43-minute film which lays bare the extent of the atrocities committed in Israel on October 7th. Footage was collected from GoPro cameras which were strapped to Hamas soldiers, as well as their own mobile phones. There was home CCTV footage from victims' homes. There was car dash cam footage from first responders' mobile phones, and images taken by victims themselves was shown. The footage is now being shown by Israeli diplomats around the world in an effort to expose what they say was the true crimes of Hamas. And I suppose what I saw, Pat, was Hamas terrorists indiscriminately shooting and killing people. It really did seem that anyone they came across on Israeli soil was a target, and they just didn't care who they killed. They were just shooting at cars randomly, entering people's homes, shooting randomly. So yeah, they didn't kill, or they didn't care who they killed. At one point, from home CCTV footage, you can see a father carrying his sons under each arm desperately, running through the living room, running through the kitchen, then into the garden, and he goes into to what appears to be some sort of a shed, some sort of a bunker to hide, where the father obviously believed it would be safe. But then from the CCTV footage, you can see a Hamas terrorist enter the garden from the left of the frame. He tosses a grenade into the shed, which shelters the father and his two sons. The father's killed instantly. The two boys luckily survive, and you can see them leave. They're covered in blood. One of the young boys looks to have lost his eye. And then Hamas terrorists, he leads the two young boys into the house. They're covered in blood. They're shaking. They're crying. Then the children seem to make a run for it. I'm not sure if they survived. You can't tell from the CCTV footage. But then after a few minutes, the mother returns to the house with security personnel, and the muted audio shows her total despair as she sees that her husband was killed and she can't find her children. In more footage shown, you can hear a call intercepted by the IDF. One Hamas terrorist calls home. His father answers the phone, and he says to his father, "Look at the videos I've sent you on WhatsApp. I killed 10 Jews with my bare hands." And then you can hear his mother crying with joy almost. The terrorist GoPros and mobile phones show soldiers, piled into the back of pickup trucks with guns. And as I said, they target cars, just indiscriminately shooting at cars. Again, they go into houses, shooting indiscriminately. They set houses on fire. And even, there's footage of them shooting harmless pet dogs. And then they also set fire to some of the people. They set fire to some of the people they had killed. There was terrible footage of burnt corpses, some children who had been murdered. Some of these children, I suppose you can say the innocence, they were in Mickey Mouse pajamas, Little Miss Sunshine pajamas. And just, the innocence of these children was just taken away in the blink of an eye, being brutally murdered. And it was very, very hard. It was very, very hard to watch.
Counter the kind of footage we're seeing from within Gaza, where you see dead children, you see children being pulled from the wreckage, barely alive, covered in the remnants of explosives and whatever else. But the Israelis kind of aware maybe they were losing any kind of a propaganda war.
I would say so, yeah.
They're trying to explain to people why they feel as strongly as they do about what happened on October the 7th.
Yeah, well, the Israeli ambassador said the embassy wanted to show the film to members of the Irish media to show, what they were fighting against and to show what exactly happened, to lay bare the atrocity that happened on October 7th. They also said that the embassy now will offer all Irish TDs and senators the opportunity to watch this footage as well. But look, I don't think anybody would want to bear witness to this footage, Pat. It was fairly, fairly distressing. And, there was other footage of Hamas terrorists. They could be heard chanting Allahu Akbar, dancing and celebrating around the burnt bodies of people they had just murdered. So anybody who had ever tried to defend Hamas certainly wouldn't after watching this footage. But I suppose the point I would make, Pat, is that I've been watching distressing footage like this now for a month. I follow journalists who are based in Gaza as well on social media. I watched the film last night from a photojournalist, Motaz Azazai, just dead children being picked out of rubble. But then at one point, a child who was miraculously found alive is pulled out, and then these people started chanting Allah Akbar as well. So I've seen two very different accounts yesterday of people chanting that.
God be praised for the rescue of the child, and God be praised for the death of a Jewish child.
Yeah, but I know the ambassador, the Israeli ambassador, said this was not to show any equation between what has happened since October 27th. But I suppose I left there yesterday after there was a Q&A with the Israeli ambassador. She said there would be no ceasefire. I asked her about, she says civilians are warned, that they're warned that certain areas are going to be bombed. And I said, but where are these people meant to flee to? And she said, well, they're meant to flee to southern Gaza, but we know that parts of southern Gaza have been bombed. And I kind of thought yesterday, Pat, being where I'm from, the IRA used to, do telephone warnings before they set off bombs, but civilians were often killed. That wasn't okay. And the way Israel are doing it now is not okay either.